All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to totally change how you think about learning German. Forget those endless vocabulary lists and confusing grammar charts. We're going to give you a super efficient toolkit based on one simple but powerful idea, so you can start having actual conversations like today. Let's do this. So, be honest, does learning German just feel impossible sometimes? Yeah, you hear about the four cases, the whole der, die, des thing, and you see these words that are a mile long, and it just feels like you're trying to climb a huge mountain. It's a totally normal feeling, but what if I told you we can just walk around the mountain instead?
I mean, what if there's a smarter way to do this? What if you could get, say, 80% of the results by doing just 20% of the work? That's not a trick question. That's the exact idea we're going to unpack today. A method that's all about efficiency to get you speaking and understanding fast.
So how do we actually pull this off? Well, it all comes down to a really cool concept we're calling the 80-20 German secret. Think of this as your secret weapon, your cheat code for learning the language without all the usual headaches.
Now, this isn't some brand new idea. It's actually a well-known concept called the Pareto Principle. And what's absolutely wild is that researchers have found it applies perfectly to language. A tiny, tiny fraction of all the words and grammar rules are used for pretty much 80% of everything people say in a normal day. So our only job is to figure out what's in that vital 20%.
And you know, the real magic of this approach isn't just about being efficient. It's about psychology. When you start actually understanding things and forming sentences quickly, you build confidence. You get this amazing momentum going, and that feeling of real progress is what keeps you from getting stuck and just giving up.
Okay, enough theory. Let's start building that 20% toolkit right now. The first thing we need, the absolute foundation, are the most essential high-frequency words, what I like to call the bread and butter of the language.
Okay, just take a second and really look at this list. These are, statistically, the most frequently used words in German. And what do you notice? They're not scary at all. You've got articles like der, die, das, pronouns like ich, and the two absolute superstar verbs sein and haben. These are the little Lego bricks you'll use to build almost every sentence.
Now, let's zoom in on the two most important verbs on that list: sein, to be, and haben, to have. Seriously, just by knowing these two verbs in the present tense, you unlock so much. You can say who you are, where you are, and what you have.
Ich bin müde.
I am tired. Ich habe ein Auto. I have a car. They're the power verbs of German.
Okay, so we've got our core words. Now we need the engine to actually put them all together. And for our 80-20 approach, we're not going to learn 50 grammar rules. We're going to focus on just one single rule. That is going to unlock almost every basic sentence for you.
And here it is. This is it. The golden rule. The North Star of German sentence structure. In any simple statement you make, the main verb is always the second piece of information. It's like the anchor of the whole sentence. No matter what else you move around, that verb stays locked in position 2. Let's look at the most basic example you can imagine. Ich lerne Deutsch. Position 1, ich, the subject, I. And boom, right there in position 2, lerne, the verb, learn. See? Everything else just follows after. So simple, so clean. Okay, but watch this. This is where it gets really cool, and you start sounding more natural. What if we want to start the sentence by saying when something happens, like today, heute? Look at the verb, lerne. It doesn't budge. It stays right there in position 2, and the subject, ich, just happily hops over to the other side. Once you get this one idea, your German is going to sound so much better instantly. All right, this is the fun part. This is where the rubber meets the road. We have our high-frequency words. We have our one golden rule. It's time to stop just studying and actually start speaking. Let's put this stuff together and build some real sentences.
And I'm not kidding. It really is as simple as this 3-step recipe. You just pick your subject, like I, you lock your verb into that all-important second position, and then you just add the rest of the details at the end. That's it. You're ready to start communicating.
Let's try it. Let's do a rapid-fire round. How do you introduce yourself? Ich heiße Anna. Subject, verb, name. Done.
How do you say where you live? Ich wohne in Berlin.
Again, subject in position 1, verb locked into position 2. Perfect.
How about something a little more practical? Using one of our power verbs. Ich habe keine Zeit. I have no time. Trust me, you're going to use that one a lot. And what about maybe the most important question for any traveler or anyone who's shopping? Wie viel kostet das? That one question is your key to buying pretty much anything, from a cup of coffee to a souvenir.
And just like that, just stop and think about it. With one single rule and a tiny handful of words, look at what you've just unlocked. You can now handle all of these basic, essential situations for any beginner. Introductions, shopping, ordering food, asking for info. You have the tools you need to actually communicate.
And that brings us to the most important part of this whole thing. The theory part is officially over. Your real journey with German, it starts right now.
So if there's one thing you take away today, let it be this. You don't need to know thousands of words or 100 grammar rules to start speaking. You just need the most effective ones. You need the 20% that unlocks 80% of the conversation. And guess what? Now you have it.
So you're equipped. You've got the vocabulary. You've got the one rule you need to build your first sentences and have your first real conversations. The only question left is the one right here on the screen. You have the toolkit. What are you going to say first?